Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first episode of Apex Legends Casted. Now before I begin, don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe to this YouTube channel as well as my Twitter and my Twitch. So let's get going. What is Apex Legends Casted? Apex Legends Casted is a new series that I am bringing to you all, where I go over my gameplay and kind of shoutcast the entire way, go through my thought processes and everything like that, just to kind of give maybe the newer players out there some sort of direction and guidance. I know some pros have done this already, but the problem with being a professional Apex Legends player is that you're already a professional. There's some people out there that aren't aspiring, they just want to get better, and some people out there that want to become a professional Apex Legends player. So for me, that's kind of my direction. Will it happen? I don't know, but maybe this will help lend that perspective to everybody. So right now we're getting into a World's Edge map. This is actually Season 6 before the shields got reverted back to pre-Season 6. So again, the body shields in this one is not the pre-Season 6 update that just came through. So I'm a Bloodhound main. I actually was on Xbox and I switched over to PlayStation 4, all because of my lovely wife, who knew that I wanted to get into a competitive type of setting with another game that I do currently play. But you know me, I'm an Octane Xbox main, and I just need to play Apex Legends. So here I am back doing this for you all. So we're landing in Skyhook. This is actually a very favorite spot for me. Like, this is a very favorite spot for me to land, Skyhook, and also my wife when we play together, because we actually play quite frequently. And so this is a building that I think this is the main building that everyone's always landed at. But the thing is when you're landing, you want to loot quick, right? But I already know there's a team over here. There's people around. So we're going to deal with them before we get on to the loot process. Right now, I'm just kind of hiding on this balcony, trying to remain still so this Wraith doesn't see me. And she doesn't. She falls right into my gunfire. And put her down with the Prowler. So now what I'm thinking is that there's two that are dead. Where's the third? Right? So I'm looking for the callouts and I'm listening. The thing about Bloodhound, which I really like, is Bloodhound scan. And there we go. The whole squad is done like dinner on a Friday night. Yes, that is how we do. So now for me, I kind of slow it down in my own process. I think, okay, after the team is I guess neutralized, I would say, I can kind of slow it down a bit and kind of collect my thoughts on exactly what I want to roll, what my loadout is going to be. So lately it has been the alternator Spitfire, alternator triple take, Spitfire triple take. Thing about the Spitfire though is that they've eliminated a lot of the recoil on it from past seasons for Season 6, and I'm just really in love with this gun now because it feels like I can actually kill people with it. It feels like I can actually control it and put people down with it. Not to say that I couldn't before, but now it just feels like I can more efficiently. Got the cargo bot because I know there's really nobody else around. And one thing too, when you're putting down a team, you wanna, for me, I know I mentioned like, okay, I'm gonna loot slow. My surroundings for me was that I was able to have that situational awareness to know that there's no other teams around anyway. So that's, for me, that's where I was like, okay, I'm gonna slow it down here. It's gonna vary from situations, right? For me, it varies. For you, it'll vary, so on and so forth. And that whole decision not to take that gold bag, I'll keep a white bag because you know what? Like I said just right then and there, I'd rather get rezzed by Mirage that has the invis with the gold bag than me or even a Loba, right? because then at least if I get knocked and he can come, my Mirage teammate can come and get me, at least I can crawl away to a safe area and then get rezzed with the invis, so it's pretty cool. That's what I really love about a Mirage teammate. Now this is kind of a ragtag bunch, right? I've never really played with a Mirage teammate and a Loba. I've played with one or the other, never both in the same squad. So it was a really interesting dynamic for me anyway. To, you know, I didn't have the utmost confidence, but playing with these guys, it's like, okay, you know, they know what they're doing after the first fight. It wasn't anything necessarily where I was doubting them or I was thinking like harsh about them. So if there is some cussing in this video, I'll try to eliminate that, but for now, you know, a lot of it's just heat in the moment. So you'll notice too when I'm going through a game, and if you're a Bloodhound main or you're thinking I'm gonna main Bloodhound, utilize your scan every time you can, like every time and any time you can, because when I play with other Bloodhound mains, they kind of pop it here and there. They don't really utilize it to its full potential of the frequency and the duration. For me, when I pop my scan, I keep an eye on my clock, make sure I know when it's there, and I've gotten to actually in the habit now to call out the time. Okay, I got 5 seconds left on scan. I got this on, you know. So that's another thing that I actually developed now today, rather than maybe a week and a half ago when I was playing this. So you'll notice I'm gold 2. This is a ranked match, if you hadn't noticed yet. So I've been loving the ranked matches, and I'll tell you why I like ranked matches. They just have more organization than pubs, right? Now, I didn't really play Season 5, I believe, because the organization that was happening with Season 5 playstyles was super passive, gonna camp, and then I'm gonna unload on a team. So a lot of the times I was playing with guys or girls, I don't know, you know, to each their own. A lot of the times my teammates were playing super passive, so when a team actually came through that was super aggressive, just didn't know how to handle, because everyone was just hoping they would reach at least top 5 without having to get into a gunfight. And I really highly I highly recommend going against this, because of that. You get really rusty, and you're gonna see this aggressive playstyle doesn't come into like any type of usefulness when you have a situation like this. So you'll see me in a few moments. I'll back up. I'm like, okay, I can't do anything here, because 1, they have the high ground. 2, they have a sniper, and I don't know where the other teammates are. So you may scan one, or you may see one player, but you also have to keep in mind that there may be other players around too as well. Even other teams, like there could be numerous teams in the area. So here I go with my Beast of the Hunt mode, and for some reason I can't hit the water off a duck's back with that. So here we go. I'm rolling up. I think this is a lifeline or a wraith. There's a wraith, and that purple mag came in handy. I had two shots left. My mistake here, though, was wanting to thirst that wraith and not paying attention to any teammates. I was like, I'm just gonna go for the thirst, and that was a really bad, really poor decision on my part. So I'm trying to isolate myself for as long as I can. I'm pinging, and when I ping, it's not that I'm panic pinging and spamming the shit out of where the enemy is. I will spam in short bursts and not continuous, so they know where their opponent is, like my teammate is and whatnot. So we're just lucky that we didn't get third-partied here, because if we got third-partied, we probably would have not made it past the train yard. So train yard is not my preferred place to land, or even to rotate through. I don't like the train yard rotations because there's so many exit and entry points, right? I'd rather be up against the wall knowing that there's only one or two ways to get to me, rather than um, up against the wall with five different ways to breach. So that's why I pick a place like Skyhook, because I know where I can go to escape and evade if I need to. I know where all the like the nooks and crannies are within the buildings, and that's another thing too, is just your general map knowledge, knowing where everything is, with kind of doorways, entry points, exits. So for me, being a paramedic, ingress and egress are what I think in my head. What are the ingress locations? What's the egress locations? Because even though you may enter in one spot, there may be multiple ways to get out of that spot, right? So you got to really think outside of the box. If you need to get away from a squad, if you need to lead your teammates to a safe area to maybe charge back up, get those syringes in and whatnot. So another thing that I don't do is I don't roll through train yard tunnel too often, because it usually ends in a ends really badly for me and my teammates. More times than not have I died in this little friggin' tunnel. So, and my wife will attest to that. We never really go train yard tunnel, and we never go vault. If we go train yard tunnel, that's because we need to get to the other side, and there's no possible way to get around without dying in the I guess the storm. So now here we are. We're running through. We're going through Harvester. We're passing Harvester, and I'm trying to recommend, let's go to the redeploy. And I guess my teammates, for me, fortunately, they were actually listening to my pings and the recommendations. It's nothing worse than teammates or squad mates that just kind of veer off and do their own thing. And I've never really understood why people do that in a game, especially a battle royale. I've never really experienced that with my game, like my gaming experience in PUBG, because I was a really big PUBG player before Apex Legends launched. So I was PUBG, and then I came over to Apex, and then I went back to PUBG because I didn't have anybody to play with in Apex. So what I'm doing here is I'm pinging tree. I'm thinking ahead. We got to get ahead of the people. I'm looking at the squads, and that's something I'm always doing, is I'm always looking over to the top right. How many squads are left? And at times you will notice too, okay, 6 squads left. I don't say 7 squads because we're one of those squads, right? Now my teammates, they did spot some enemies, and they're going to engage. I was already getting way ahead over the tree because I wanted to scout it out, but they want to jump on this opportunity. The only thing for me is that I'm worried about a third party coming in, because it's on a low point from sorting factory and under the train bridge, and there's really no way to get out and get behind cover when you're in this part of the map, because there's such a wide open area. Maybe there's some rocks and whatnot, but you're not going to stand behind some boulders the entire time. You gotta be able to rotate. You gotta move. And so I'm looking for that third person. Where's the third person? Because we didn't get anything. So now I see someone here, and Bob's your uncle. If Bob is really your uncle, then cool. But that's what I mean, is like you're always wanting to look for the third man, third person. Always be on the lookout, even if it's one you think it's a solo. If you don't hear, all right, whole squad down, or something referring to the whole squad being killed, then I seriously, strongly recommend you continue to look, or you continue to post up and wait, right? I usually don't like ring camp, but in certain instances I will, if I know we've pinched one, we dropped one, we've killed one, and 2 teammates may be coming right behind that person that's getting ahead, like the scout, like me. So again, right, I'll ping. I'll do like these directional pings. A lot of people just kind of ping one time and that's it. For me, I will actually ping where that person is and where that person is going to. So I'll ping along their trajectory path, right? And it's actually very, very useful because then my teammates know which way they're going rather than just, oh, there's an enemy here. See, you see that kind of spam ping? Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. Right then and there, the directional pinging is such a useful thing, and I think a lot of people don't understand that. That's not, I'm not spamming anything. It's just the directional pings of letting my teammates know where the enemy is possibly heading or where they've been. So I don't. This was a really this was really weird for me at this point because it's like, where did the person go? I looked behind me and my teammate was down, and I scanned. There's nobody, so I don't know what happened to that person that put him down, right? So now we got Bangalore's Rolling Thunder rolling into tree. We have 4 squads left. Again, going back to that whole, squads thing, I say that 4 squads so we know. If I say 5 squads and then there's only us and another team left, that's going to preoccupy our mind thinking there's a 3rd squad left when there really isn't, right? So that's going to kind of keep us jumbled and not focused on, okay, there's actually only 1 squad left. I used my judgment and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna go get into that fight because I'll probably lose, given how fast Mirage was put down. So I'm scanning. I'm hoping that I can land this thermite, in which I don't. I do get an assist though, which is pretty awesome. And that's what I love about Bloodhounds Beats the Hunt, is that you can see everybody. The only thing is sometimes it's just you can't hit shots for some reason. I don't know what it is. So we got our teammate's banner, and I went straight for the beacon because we didn't have much time left. I'd rather go down fighting with 3, 1 unshielded, or start playing super passive when you have 2 people left.
This is crazy.
As you can see, it was a really hyped up game because I didn't know what was happening, where anybody was. But luckily enough that our teammate's death box did happen to stay within the circle, so he was able to actually pick up his loot and then pick up some additional loot from other death boxes in the area. So that was pretty wild. I want to shout out right now as I'm doing this video, I got a new subscriber on YouTube, Tower3211. Thank you for that sub on YouTube. Greatly appreciated. So now I'm checking the perimeter. I'm running my line. This is the line that I want to run, and I go for that bamboozle like a dumbass. Pardon my language. Pardon my français. So one rule of thumb for me is that I will always maintain a high position. Great professional player like Snipe Down. If you haven't heard of him, go check him out. He's on Twitch. But I'm sure if you're at this video, you know who Snipe Down is. But one thing he said, 9 times out of 10, you'll always win the fight if you're on the high spot. So the scans are coming in hot all the time.
Hey, don't let her do that, please.
And one thing is, like what you just heard, is that I'm a stay-at-home dad. So you'll hear me chatter with my children, maybe come down on them a little bit, just to kind of wrangle them in as I'm playing, because they have a really good knack of acting up during these intense gunfights, and I'm trying to focus and and whatnot. So now we know where one team is. We have 2 squads left, and it is getting it's getting pretty intense. So
why is that so hard?
being a stay-at-home dad comes with many responsibilities, and for me, when I'm getting to these gunfights, it's not that I'm ignoring anything. It's just that this is what I do, right? This is what I'm doing. With hopes to make a living and get to where I'm going. So I'm also thankful for my older children that do help, you know, pop a swamp here, get through a match on this day. So again, popping scans as much as I can, and I find that lone gunman, the Bangalore, and the Spitfire comes through yet again. Now we are down to
Anna's getting you
us
another one,
and them. So we know we got a caustic here, and I believe we also know that we have a Mirage inside. And
they're gonna trap themselves inside.
exactly, that was my assessment. What you heard, they're gonna trap themselves inside, because then once that circle closes even further, it's just gonna close in on that little portion of the building. So I'm thinking one or two things are gonna happen. They're gonna rush out and try to get out of the building, or we're gonna have to heal. We're gonna have a heal off, which is the circle's just gonna keep closing and closing and closing until, you know, the last man standing in terms of health and whatnot. So now the team is starting to push us. The opposing team is starting to push us on the top. I'm gonna pop my alt because I need to. The only thing is with a Mirage is that you can't really differentiate when he pops his decoys and all that stuff, right? When he goes into his ult. Now the only time you can is when you hit your scan, and that's the only time they'll come down. So I'm chasing the caustic. I'm missing my shots like a potato, but peekaboo. Here we go. Here we go. Trying to go for that thirst, but I don't want to make that mistake again where I over thirsted and whatnot. So we know Mirage is down, and here we go.
Got him, baby!
And that is it for this episode. You can see how hype I get with this one, because I think that day I really needed a win. It was really frustrating in terms of the matches. But this is SwampThings saying stay healthy, stay safe. I hope you enjoyed the video. Drop a like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Later.